So I want to talk a little bit in more detail about the viral video of Donald Trump over on Fox News talking about getting rid of the Department of Education. If you haven't seen the video, here's the video.
Anything to do with school choice, also. But also, separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
me.
Here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land. And that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget. Okay.
You've got that black man sitting up there on that panel while Donald Trump is talking about closing down, disbanding the Department of Education and sending it back to the states. And then you got that white man, that white supremacist, asking, well, what happens if said schools are talking about slavery and how slaves contributed to society? You know, that saying that we're always putting out there, slaves built this country. Donald Trump says, then we won't send them any money. And that black man is sitting there allowing this discussion to happen without any objection or input from him. That's how effed up black men are who support Donald Trump. Anywho, so we've heard on many occasions Donald Trump talking about disbanding the Department of Education. He's talked about abortion on the federal level, bragged about overturning Roe v. Wade. He's talked about mass deportation. 10 million immigrants will be deported from this country. Him and his surrogates, the people that are around him that go out and speak on different platforms on his behalf, they've talked about firing thousands of federal employees and then bringing in, Trump loyalists, those who will be loyal to Donald Trump. He's repeatedly said over and over and over again that he's going to indemnify the police, give the police full immunity. Here's a tip. If you have not read Project 2025, I'm going to make it easy for you. When you hear these Republicans talking about the different policies or the different things that they want to do if Donald Trump gets back into office, take that information and plug it into ChatGPT. And ask ChatGPT, said policy, connect that to Project 2025. For instance, I put in ChatGPT, briefly explain what Project 2025 says about shutting down the Department of Education. And this is what I got. I've got it up over here on the big screen. Project 2025, an initiative backed by conservative groups, proposes dismantling the U.S. Department of Education as part of a broader effort to reduce federal influence in education. The plan aims to shift control over education back to the states. Nothing can go wrong there, right? As we're watching women dying because they overturned Roe v. Wade and sent it back to the states. But moving on, allowing them to opt out of federal programs and standards. Key proposals include eliminating federal funding programs such as Title I, which supports schools serving low-income students, and transferring responsibilities like special education to other federal agencies, ending programs like Head Start, which benefits children from low-income families, promoting school vouchers, allowing public funds to support private and religious education, reducing federal enforcement of civil rights in schools, particularly in cases of racial or gender discrimination by transferring these duties to the Department of Justice. And the Department of Justice, if you look that up in Project 2025, they will then view these students as criminals. But moving on, these changes could significantly reduce federal involvement in public education, which critics warning that they could harm disadvantaged students, particularly in areas that rely heavily on federal funds. These changes could significantly reduce federal involvement in public education, which critics warning that they could harm disadvantaged students, particularly in areas that rely heavily on federal funds. And you can do that with all of his talking points. You can go over to ChatGPT and put in the little box, briefly explain what Project 2025 says about Donald Trump indemnifying the police. Or you can put in the little box, briefly explain what Project 2025 says about IVF, or what Project 2025 says about abortion, or what Project 2025 says about deportation in immigrants. You can do that with all of their talking points, and ChatGPT will bring you up a nice little synopsis of what Project 2025 has said about each one of those talking points. Or you can go over to the Tube to the U, and I did a little video breaking down 4 of those talking points and what ChatGPT has said about Project 2025. And being that I've read most of Project 2025, I can confirm that what ChatGPT brings back is true and factual. So when Donald Trump steps up in front of a camera and lies to your face and says he knows nothing about Project 2025, you'll know the truth. Donald Trump and Project 2025 are married. His vice president, even his choice for vice president, has even contributed to Project 2025. Everybody around Donald Trump is a part of Project 2025. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, and if it talks like a duck, it's a motherfucking duck.